Wind-affected pigeons and meatloaf like Granny used to make. Andy's protecting a maize crop with Frederic from Blaza. Catapult ballistic gel test. Wayne Martin sets out to find the best hunting setup.
It's unbelievable. Unbelievable.
We have news, we have hunting YouTube. Welcome to Fieldsports Britain. We tend to crave hearty food at this time of year, stuff that warms and gives us a fat store to call upon when times get tough. However, in modern society, tough has to be self-inflicted with a Zumba class or Tums and Bums session. For wood pigeons, it's a different story. They really do need to pile it on, and this maize is like a bread and butter pudding buffet.
The far side of the field, there's been a lot of pigeons and crows on it. The farmers asked me to shoot it. Today they say we're going to get a lot of rain, and access to it is like getting over the fence here and walking right across. It's so wet everywhere, so it's a big walk. We've got another maize field which you cut probably 10 days ago. That's going into wheat as soon as we get a dry spell, which looking at the weather, it doesn't look like it's going to happen. So we're going to go and shoot that today. What we're hoping to do is have them coming across, making for here, and just flight them. Try and decoy them, but most of the pigeons we're going to shoot today are going to be flighted. And I think it's going to be fun in this 25, 30 mile an hour winds. This is a new permission, I don't want to lose it. So if it's a case of standing out here and getting wet today, and that's the way it goes. Are you all right there in this wind, Dave?
Breezy.
It's a bit breezy. That's why I want to get the other side of the wood out of the wind.
To be clear, Andy will be one of 4 guns on the harvested crop to protect the standing crop behind us. Joining Crow today is Frederic Hanner. He's more of a rifle shot and is keen to take some of Andy's know-how back to Germany, where they don't really have a strong culture of pigeon shooting. Andy starts by building a hide big enough for the tall German.
Yeah, we're going to have a big one today.
You've got big Germans in.
Oh no, I'm going to need some stilts. The old hide's going to have to be so high so they can't see Frederic. Either that or he's going to have to kneel down. So Frederic, how much pigeon shooting have you done?
Not an awful lot, to be fair.
No.
I mean, I said to David earlier, the best day ever we had in Germany was 26 pigeons, and that is something like probably all the hunting areas in the vicinity of 50 kilometers spoke about.
How much pigeon shooting is done in Germany? Is it seen as a sort of mainstream sport?
It depends a bit where you are. In northern Germany, definitely. So there you get the migration and so on as well in the winter. So they do shoot big bags up there. Where I am close to Frankfurt, we are very much a forested area more than anything else. So at home it's really deer and boar for me. But northern Germany, definitely, they're on it.
When do they migrate through?
So the big migration they always get is like January, February. So that time of year is usually when they have like these pigeon days, and
right.
Usually the hunting ground owners will invite the new hunters of the year,
yeah.
And so on, so everybody gets a chance, and then there's probably 20-30 people out to shoot 200 or 300 pigeons. That is happening, but
right.
like not like you guys, that when you go out and sometimes you have these crazy bags with 1 or 2 blinds, that just doesn't happen.
So 26 birds is your biggest bag so far?
That's our absolute record, and that was 2 of us actually in the same blind. So I'm very very curious about today and see what's going to happen. I think some people are slightly confident, so I'll just see what happens. I'm really thrilled. I know I'm really excited to learn all about it and see it being done.
Sticking a couple of rotaries out. That's all we're going to do. Middle of the hides there. Just want to try. The wind's coming over our right shoulder. So the plan is to start to come around in front and pull to the rotary. That's the plan anyway. I've got no
many decoys, bro.
No, I haven't got any today because we're going to be flighting mainly anyway. So it's just a case of trying to draw them to where you are. Once we get a few out there, hopefully they might start looking at the decoys, and then Frederic can take over then.
When finished, Andy's hide is as impressive as King Ludwig's castle and blends in a lot better. Although Frederic says in Germany they would never put a hide so close to a wood, especially when shooting corvids.
Back home we always say when we're decoying crows that we shouldn't do it next to the edge of the forest because the birds will be scared of predators such as foxes or stoats or something. Is that nothing you ever worry about?
No, I've never worried about it. No, I do quite a lot more. Most of my crow decoy shooting is along the edge of a wood, around farmyards and that. But
interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. I'll give that a go at home then and see if it makes any difference.
Yeah.
Frederic has not come empty-handed. He has rustled up a fallow venison meatloaf, just like Granny's.
What is this, Frederic?
So it's fallow deer meatloaf, Grandma's recipe. So we need to have a bit of grub during the day. I think we'll be in the hide for quite some time. So
go on, how do you make it?
It's just really plain recipe. Pepper, salt, minced meat, a couple of eggs, onion, parsley. That's it really, and then just bake it.
Awesome. Did you reckon you got your ears in properly today?
I've definitely got my ears in properly today because you put them in for me, David. It's much appreciated.
What do you reckon is the best tasting pigeon, and when's the sort of plumpest, juiciest, healthiest pigeons to eat?
When they've been on maize. Definitely.
Seriously?
Oh, 100%. Yeah. Get them on maize for 3 weeks.
So the ones I take home later will be absolutely bob on.
Yeah, they should be. We've got to shoot some first.
Crow thinks he knows what will happen today, but the conditions are so changeable he is prepared to manage the situation the best he can. The pattern is small because he thinks most of the birds will be shot en route to the fields behind. He is only expecting to pull some back if they can fight the wind.
Yeah, of course, if they have too much wind. They make up their mind they want to come, and there's just one big gust and it just lifts them. It's just, they're not managing to punch across the field. They do, I'm not saying they're not all making it, but quite a few of them are making it. Not with mustard. Yeah, quite a...
Oh, hold on a second, hold on. Look at that bad boy. Okay.
And there you go without Mr. Crow.
Cheers, Frederic.
Can we invite him again, Crow? Because we don't eat like this, don't we?
No, we can't.
We're good.
It's good, isn't it? Seems every time we start on food, pigeons start coming.
Where are you going to put it?
I don't know. After all that, it's a stock gun.
Where have you put it? That's what I want to know.
I put it in my pouch.
Where?
It's in my pouch.
He didn't, did he?
Oh, for God's sake.
The Jack Pike pouch. It's got cartridges in one bit and food in the other, see?
Thankfully, a second pouch saves the game boar clear pigeon shells from getting covered in Grandma's loaf. Of course, both shooters are using blazers, although Frederic is using the Heritage. Regardless of what it looks like, he thinks the F-16 range is a great one.
So explain what makes the Heritage a Heritage then.
The Heritage, well, it's really the ultimate game gun for the UK, I would say. Side-plated, nice game scene on there. Just a really, really pretty and just beautiful F-16, really. And I mean, the great thing about it is German-made, German engineering. It works. It's a dream to shoot. And I really think the balance on all of our shotgun, that's what I always feel coming from or coming into the industry or before I worked for Blaser. The balance on both the F3 and F16, I always find it's so much easier to shoot them than other shotguns. So just give it a try.
When the rain starts to fall, Crow says we'll give it another half hour or so. He has time to check and see what the birds have been eating.
This one's got 3 or 4 grains of maize. The deeper you go in his crop, the more maize he's got. That's probably what he ate this morning. But these are still milky. They're well, semi-milky. They probably picked them up on the field behind us where they've been feeding. And the other seeds that are in there are buckwheat. They're like a triangle seed. But yeah, so he's probably got that out of a pheasant cover crop somewhere. Yeah, as you dig in there, find more and more maize, all little grains, like off that field over the back. I bet that's where they've been. They've just gone there and just settled in there. There must be a pheasant shoot over there. Not that I know of, but unless they've got a wild bird mix over there. But yeah, that's what that is.
So what sort of day has Frederic had?
Absolutely love it. It's super good fun. Just so different to whatever we do at home. So it's just really nice to always see what different people do in different countries. And I think it's the same passion, but it's still so interesting and fascinating to do things you don't do at home or you don't get to do so often. So I mean, back home it's all boar and deer, and here I get to do something I don't get to do at all. So love it, absolutely love it.
As Andy plans to get home for a duck flight this evening, we start tidying up. It's been a tough day with some challenging birds. Nothing daunted, this is a new bit of ground for Andy, and he needs to show the farmer he means business. Thank you, Andy and Frederic. And the weather certainly is having an effect on our shooting here in the UK. Now, David is back from Sweden, or is it Scotland? I'm here in Scotland, he's not here. And he returns to the Fieldsports Channel News Stump.
This is Fieldsports Channel News. Trophy hunting has hit the headlines, but what is trophy hunting? Anti-hunting newspapers say they're looking forward to a ban on trophy imports following a government consultation on the issue, but there is doubt over whether this includes exports of antlers from the UK. The move by the British government has left deer stalkers confused.
It seems to me that it's purely referring to species that are on the CITES list and what's connected to it. But if that's the case, then it means we have no trophy species in the UK. And perhaps a bit of clarity from government or from agencies that understand and interpret law better than me to say this is definitely the case. It doesn't refer to trophy species because there are none in the UK, which then opens a whole other can of worms for you and I to talk about, because we've spent the last 2 years talking about what people think of trophy hunting. Maybe we've both been wrong because there isn't any.
Manchester is to hold the British Shooting and Countryman Fair. Following its cancellation in Liverpool thanks to the city's mayor, Joe Anderson, the British Shooting Show head office says it's been inundated with venues offering their services. Organiser John Allison says Event City in Manchester fits the bill for the show's needs perfectly. It'll take place next September as part of a 3-year deal and is in addition to the British Shooting Show to be held at the NEC next February. Mountain hares have been found in greater numbers on moorland managed for grouse shooting than unmanaged moors, according to gamekeepers and landowner groups. This year, gamekeepers have been trialling a new method developed by Scottish Natural Heritage, the James Hutton Institute and the Game and Wildlife Conservation Trust for estimating the numbers. Now gamekeepers count the hares just after dusk, when the animals are at their most active, rather than during the day. Then the numbers are estimated using an app developed by Imperial College London. RSPB Scotland, which criticises hare culls, says counts should be independent. Here's evidence that SABs and anti-hunting charities would rather peddle propaganda and incite other antis than take their allegations to the police and pursue prosecution. In this clip shared by the Facebook group Hunting for Truth, a SAB is questioned by a police officer. Instead of providing evidence to back up his claims of illegal hunting, he posts it on Facebook. DEFRA has spent £300,000 on equipping badger cull shooters with tracking devices. Anti-cull activists are criticising the expense, arguing that the cost of the cull should be met by farmers rather than the public purse. The tracking devices are intended to keep guns safe, but SABs claim they're able to use a flaw in the device to find them and cause disruption to the culls. Thanks to shareholder Nigel Appleton for the story. Cash seized from criminals in Northern Ireland is being used to protect birds of prey. The money's being used to monitor nest sites and put GPS trackers on birds in areas of alleged poisoning and shooting hotspots. The tracking technology allows police to locate a bird that's stopped moving to see if it's been targeted. A Danish hunting party has been detained by police in Poland following a death. Danish newspapers report a possible accidental shooting, and Danish hunting journalist Askerif explains what they've found out so far.
We've heard that a group of 16 Danish hunters has been detained by the Polish police, and their rifle has been confiscated. But not much more information has come out at this point. And we just tightened the hunting license regulations some years ago, so it's been harder to take the hunting license in Denmark. So yeah, it's quite unusual. We were all really saddened to hear about this.
In the first protest of its kind, farmers have come together with politicians and descended on Rome to complain about the impact of wild boar. Estimates say 2 million boar roam Italy, double the numbers recorded in 2015. Coldiretti, the country's largest farmers association, claims the government is not doing enough to control their growing population. Scientists have developed a technique to make fake rhino horn. Researchers at Oxford University and Fudan University in China have manufactured fake rhino horn from horsehair and released their recipe onto the internet. They hope to flood the market with the cheaper fake and reduce the value of the original horn. However, animal rights activists believe the move will just serve to stimulate the market. Hadsan Zoo in Denmark has once again been the target of illegal hunting. 7 deer have been shot illegally and removed from the zoo in the last few months. North Jutland Police are now offering a reward for information leading to an arrest. Thanks to Per Holmseth for this story. A DNA test carried out on wolves in northern Norway showed that they originate from a zoo in Paris. Senior scientist Øystein Flagstad at the Norwegian Institute of Natural Research says the new findings don't match previous research on the origin of the Scandinavian wolf, which traced the population back to a few animals in Russia and Finland. Staying with wolves, and an award-winning hunting dog has been killed by one in Sweden. Elkhound RF Fight was on the scent of a moose when her tracking device stopped working. Her Norwegian owner, Kjetil Riis, initially thought the bitch had been kicked to death by a moose, but a vet found the injuries were caused by a wolf attack. A Devon and Cornwall police officer has shared footage of an incident with a deer on the A303. He wants to highlight the danger of travelling in areas where deer are in high numbers. The accident, which happened near Stonehenge in the early hours of Saturday morning, killed the deer instantly and wrote off the vehicle. Did the BBC inadvertently show a dog catching a rabbit? Posted on Facebook, the video looks like the dog pounces on the rabbit in the middle of a news report about the recent flooding in the north of England. Thanks to Phil Monkton for sending this in. A dodgy translation into French of an ibex hunting film in Switzerland has led to calls to ban hunting tourists. Antis are attacking American hunter Olivier Aupre, who shot an ibex in the Valais region of Switzerland. At the moment, foreign hunters can hunt ibex in Valais for around £10,000 per animal. Now, Olivia and her husband Tom have released a video on Vimeo showing the benefits of hunting. Switzerland's strictly regulated hunting manages the population and culls the animals that wouldn't survive the winter. Thanks to Fabian Zentrigen for the story. Sabs in Ireland have launched a Go Get funding campaign to buy a new car. They're asking supporters for €4,000, around £3,500, to buy a 7-seater 4x4 for wildlife defence. So far, they've raised about £790. And an easy truce in a long-standing wildfowling dispute in Moray has been shattered. Rows between shooting groups and wildlife campaigners reached a head in Findhorn Bay after a mediation process costing taxpayers nearly £9,000 collapsed. Those involved are now being urged to find a compromise. Anti-wildfowling campaigners had called on Moray Council to introduce a ban on shooting in the area, a move ruled out by the authority as too costly. SACS UK, formerly the Scottish Association for Country Sports, says they've made attempts towards a compromise, with voluntary rules drawn up for the bay, restricting shooting times, locations, shot size and littering, but the actions of local protesters intimidating wildfowlers has ended the process. A tiny deer-like creature about the size of a rabbit has been photographed in Vietnam for the first time in 3 decades. Conservationists fear the silverback chevrotain, also known as the Vietnamese mouse deer, had fallen victim to habitat loss. They are the world's smallest hoofed mammals, weighing less than 5 kilos. There's been a lucky escape for a Dachshund. Gizzle was out hunting with her owner and a dog breeder, Pa Frank, when the scent of a fox led the dog into a 6-metre backfilled gravel pit. After nearly 24 hours with no sign of the Dachshund able to get out, Pa took to Facebook to enlist the help of neighbours. Peter Jarlgaard came to the rescue with his excavator. The stones were carefully removed, and after a 36-hour rescue mission, Pa was able to extract the dog unharmed by the nose. And finally, is it surf or is it turf? A crew of lobstermen from Maine picked up an unlikely catch last week. and used a fishing gaff to drag it onto the boat by its antler. Then they sailed back to land and dropped it near a beach, where it swam ashore and headed for the nearest woodland. You are now up to date with Fieldsports Channel News. Stuck in the stories, fishing for facts.
Thank you, David. And we'll be airing his adventures with the likes of Neil and Roy and Andy and some wild boar in the next few weeks, so stay tuned. And if you want to see more news, go to our website. There's a link in the description below. Now, do you want to win a Winchester SX4 for Christmas? It's a competition we're running for the next few weeks, and I'll be drawing a winner just before Christmas. All you have to do is log into Instagram, go to Winchester Europe and click to follow them. It's so easy. Next, we get technical with Catapults. Which projectile delivers the best downrange knockdown power? You would usually associate ammunition factories and centerfire rifles with ballistic gel tests. Today, we are in a barn with Wayne Martin of Caddyshack and a selection of lead and steel balls and his catapults. The gel itself is available from Defensible Ballistics and is marketed as an air rifle block. We want to see the sort of penetration we can get using different hunting setups and ultimately find out which one suits Wayne's hunting style the best.
Well, I've evolved a bit from last year. Last year I was using 9.5mm steel and 9mm lead. I've actually moved things up now and I'm using 10mm lead and 11mm steel. But I mean, that's by no means what everyone's using. Some guys are using 8mm steel, some are using 12mm steel. So we just want to take a look at the range of ammunition, what's available, and yeah, see what it does on the ballistic gel.
Cool. What else are we going to try and play with today?
We've got some Taranti wax, so we can try and use that to get some shots into that. I've seen you've done it before on Fieldsports, where it actually penetrates and goes through the wax and then makes some plaster of Paris impressions, so you can see what sort of damage is going on internally.
The wax Wayne is talking about was introduced to us by airgun writer Phil Price. He spent 30 years trying to find the best way of comparing the impact of different airgun pellets. You can find the link for that film in the description below. Back to the experiment, and our control will be Wayne's current hunting setup.
I've got my .82 band. We're going to be using 10mm lead and some 11mm steel.
It's a compromise. Weight, surface area, drop-off are all issues.
Wow. Wow. That has gone some distance, hasn't it?
That's really cool. Really cool. Is the lead misshapen?
No, it hasn't misshapen at all. I've done this. I've shot rabbits, squirrels and things and retrieved the lead from them, and the catapult just doesn't hit with enough velocity to flatten on impact. So it will still come out relatively the same as what it went in, still intact, but you'll find scratches in it from where it's passed through bone and things. But the ball itself is still intact.
Right, after the success of that then, Wayne, what's next?
I don't know, success is shock. 11mm steel. So these are slightly lighter than the 10mm lead. 10mm lead comes at 6.2 grams, these are 5.8 grams. But obviously they've got a larger surface area. So they've got a larger surface area, but they're traveling that bit faster. So is the speed going to make up for the sort of larger surface area? I can imagine these not going in quite as far.
Okay.
Although they're faster.
Okay. So sorry, the distinction you would make when hunting, why steel over lead and why lead over steel?
The lead has always performed better for hunting rabbits, things like that, because of the better penetration, the smaller projectile, a bit more stopping power. Whereas for birds, if you use a small shot, you can get a clean pass through on a neck or a head and not stop them instantly. So these with slightly larger surface diameter does more damage as they go through. Let's have a look. Yeah, as I thought, not quite as far through. Probably half inch, 3/4 of an inch less, but still impressive.
It's really good, isn't it?
Looks fantastic.
Really chuffed with that.
I want to keep this. It's unbelievable. Unbelievable. I never had it down for going that far through. Yeah, actually, originally when we were setting this up, we were going to do it side on, weren't we? And had we have done, you know, it would have been going clean through it.
So what's next? What do you reckon would work well to compare?
I would say 8mm steel and 8mm lead.
Okay, let's do it.
Rightio.
Spot on.
Let's have a look.
Well, the moment of truth.
The moment of truth. Well, it's gone, it's penetrated, obviously, but not as far as the 10 lead or the 11mm steel. But what will be interesting now is to try the 8mm lead, because obviously that carries more weight for the same diameter.
Shot.
Thank you. Let's have a look. That's gone in obviously further than the 8mm, but still not as far as the 11 steel. But it's got some good penetration there. It'll be interesting to see if we've done a 9mm lead, whether that would overtake the 10mm. Because obviously, you know, you've got the weight and the size again. Would the extra bit of weight carry it further, or would it stop in between the two? Let's do a 9mm lead.
So this is splitting the difference?
Splitting the difference. We're going to see if the extra bit of weight and the smaller size has got that bit more penetration to overtake the 10mm lead.
Okay.
All right. Let's have a look. Oh, that is literally neck and neck with the 8mm lead. That's surprising. That is surprising.
So you're 10 millimetres ahead of the race.
Yep.
But the difference between 8 and 9 is
not a great deal.
Marginal.
And we've changed the Catapult again. We've moved up to a 0.75 band to obviously give it more power because we're using a heavier ball.
As for people that will question the idea that we're using different bands, you're optimising it. You're not sort of penalising the situation. You're actually optimising it.
Yeah, we want to do a fair test. So I want as fast a speed as possible for each one. You know, we want to optimise every single one so we're getting the exact results. So we know nothing's fudged. It's all correct.
So what did you expect there?
I actually thought that was going to, well, I thought it'd be more towards the 10mm end because obviously the extra weight, the smaller size, I thought there was a chance it might overtake the 10mm. So impressive to see.
So where are we going now? 11s?
I think so, yeah. I think the only way to go now, I mean, there's nowhere else, there's no point in doing a 9.5 steel because, well, we know the outcome's going to be less penetration just by what we've done already. So yeah, now is it going to be the 11mm lead? How's that going to fare? I mean, the penetration of it isn't going to be that of the 10mm lead, I wouldn't have thought, because of the size. But seeing the impact will be interesting for sure. Right, so we've changed up again. We've got the 11mm lead now, back on the 0.82 band. So the heavy band with the heavier ball. Probably worth mentioning as well, this is all done to suit my style of shooting. I shoot with a short draw style. So when you change to styles like butterfly, which is obviously a much greater draw, you can generate much greater speeds. So this is all done to suit what I'm looking to shoot, which is a short draw style. So that's what these results are going to show. This will be interesting.
What have we got?
Well, the 11mm lead has overtaken the 11mm steel. Obviously, I know it's heavier, but I thought that would slow down quicker. Yeah, see, I never could have called that. That is so interesting.
So is this changing your hunting thinking?
Yes and no. I mean, I've always said if you could have the trajectory of a 10mm lead with an 11mm lead, you'd use 11mm lead because they are the perfect size. You know, they've got everything. They've got weight, penetration because of the weight. But the trouble is with them at range, they drop off too quick because of the weight. But with things like butterfly technique, you could maintain a greater velocity. But I don't shoot that. I shoot short draw, as we were just saying. So for me, it's not really a viable option for distance shooting. Amazing. It is. I love it. This is so interesting to me. This is going to be going on the mantelpiece if I had one. Yeah, it's my new ornament. This is my new ornament. It's the galaxy of the slingshot world. It's like its own little solar system.
This is the final one we're going to do at this
final
distance,
one. Yeah, we've got the 12mm steel. So I'm going to stick my neck out and say less penetration than an 8mm steel,
Okay.
I think.
Okay.
No way! Look how far in that's gone. That's gone in nearly as far as a 9mm and 8mm lead. Look at the shot channel as well. So this is why this is so interesting to me, because I never had this down for happening.
Again, drop off would be an issue with that.
Yeah, for me. Shooting short draw style, at close range it would be fine, but at range you just have to have too much hold over it for it to be usable, you know.
So you just said if you hadn't seen this yourself, you wouldn't have believed it. So what's the shocking part of this?
The biggest shocks for me are the 12mm steel and the 11mm lead, especially the biggest one. I think it's the 12mm steel. I never had it going down as going through. Well, as I said, you know, I stuck my neck out and said it's not going to go as far as an 8mm steel, but it's overtook it. I'm amazed, absolutely amazed. Sort of, you know, the surface area of it, you would think as it hit, it would slow down that much that it wouldn't have the penetration to carry on through, which I'm completely wrong with.
Now this is obviously done at a very short distance for your normal hunting range.
Yeah.
So we're going to mix it up a bit and see if we can go a bit further. We're running out of space on the block, so we're going to turn it on the side, yeah?
I don't know, I don't want to ruin it.
Now stop thinking of it as an ornament.
I'm thinking of my ornament. You start putting things in from the other end, it's going to ruin the look of it.
Wayne spins the lead and steel solar system around and heads out to a more realistic hunting range of 30 yards. For this test, we're only going to shoot the top two performing projectiles, the 10mm and 11mm lead.
Right, so we're going with a 10mm lead.
Spot on.
There. Wow, that's gone in a good old way too, hasn't it? Right, so we've got both 10mm leads on clear show at the top here. This one was from sort of 12 yards to there. We've got, I think that's 125mm penetration, and at 30 yards, the 10mm lead again has gained 90mm penetration. So it's not lost a great deal at all.
And that's your typical average hunting range?
Between 25 and 35 yards, yeah, that's sort of where you in the wild, that's where you'll be hunting, yeah.
Okay. Satisfied with that? Do you need anything else?
Let's try the 11mm lead. I've got to try it. It's not, I wouldn't use it. I know I wouldn't use the 11mm lead because it drops off too quick. But I just want to see, curiosity's sake, how it compares to that.
Yes.
Right, so we've got the 10mm lead here and the 11mm lead. You can see that this is the only shot channel going through. Has actually surpassed slightly the 10mm lead, but the amount of holdover I had to give that at 30 yards for me doesn't make it viable as a hunting option for ammunition. If you could generate greater speed, so something like butterfly technique, where you could keep a flatter trajectory because of the higher speed, then yeah, you could use it. But for me, it's just too much of a holdover there. I was about probably 12 inches or more. It's quite difficult to land that shot on there, you know, because I'm not used to that kind of weight of ball and that amount of drop. It's just too much.
What were you with the 10mm then? Holdover?
Probably around 6 inches.
Okay. All right. Happy?
Yeah, very happy. And I haven't ruined my ornament.
So, after consistently accurate shooting on a small gel sample, Wayne has proved to himself that he's making the right choices for hunting with a catapult. Before we leave our lab, we must try the wax.
Let's have a look.
Straight through.
Straight through. No expansion. No sort of massive exit hole.
Surprised?
Yeah, I am. I don't know why, but I mean, I don't know why it's gone clean. It's just literally like you pushed a pencil through it. There's no expansion, possibly due to less velocity in a catapult than an air rifle, so less impact. Don't know, but it's literally like a clean tube pass through, if you can see.
Very neat.
Nice and clean, isn't it?
Oh well. After the excitement of the chat, this is sort of a bit of a squid.
Yeah, never mind. Live and learn.
Should we go hunting?
Yes.
We finished the day with a walk around the woods, but there's nothing about for us today. Just the ferals Andy wants cleared from the barn. For more information about Wayne's Catapults, visit cattyshack.co.uk. Thank you, Wayne. Incredible accuracy and trust. That camera was awfully close to the action. And if you want to see more about catapults and about what we call the little sports, the ferretings, the falconries, the fox huntings, please support us through the Fieldsports Nation. There is a link in the description below how to do that. Now, from Crow's Barn to the wider world of hunting and shooting on YouTube, it is Hunting YouTube. This is Hunting YouTube, which aims to show the best hunting and shooting videos that YouTube has to offer. First up, Devon pheasants in the heavy weather. Johnny and Sasha from the Gun Shop channel try and film a shoot day in driving rain. Jonathan Rumble has been putting up pheasant and partridge shooting videos this season. Here's a good day he had at Langham in Scotland in October. Now this film about deer stalking in Scotland. It's by French news channel France 24. It's in English and it is a good example of what happens when your journalists do all their research on Wikipedia. Just watch it and see how many wrong facts you count, and try not to throw anything at the screen. Back to reality, and McHugh-CB is coping with long grass and cattle as his Dachshunds go into a fox's den in Victoria, Australia. Find out if he judges it right. My Yorkshire Hawks is out with the world's first subterranean Harris. Well, nearly. She does a great job and earns both the swearing and the good girl. Jompen and Pierre from Swedish-driven huntmasters Jakt are on a wild boar and deer day in Östergötland, and they connect. Over to the USA, Keith Warren's series The High Road continues with this film, Whoppin' Coyotes. He's calling them in and knocking them down in West Texas. And finally, Joseph Carter the Mink Man is out hunting muskrats with his mink. Why I love this channel is he's right on the animal rights agenda, giving mink from mink farms a new life, and right against it, taking them out hunting. That's it for this week. I've put all these films into a playlist for you. Click on the I symbol top right or check this film's description. If you have a YouTube film you would like us to pop into the weekly top 8, email me the link, charlie@fieldsportschannel.tv. Well, that's it for this week. If you haven't done so already, please pop over to our website, link in the description below. You can back us there on the Fieldsports Nation. You can click to like us on Facebook and on Instagram. You can follow us on Twitter. You can subscribe to us on YouTube. And of course, you can pop your email address into our register page and we'll send you our weekly newsletter about this show. Fieldsports Britain is at 7 PM UK time every Wednesday. And I'll see you next week. Good hunting, good shooting, good fishing, and goodbye.